Hello, everybody. It's Max with Crypto Talk Now. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there who have served our wonderful nation. And my key takeaway is not only recognizing the veterans, but how about this for one? How about recognizing those who may very well no longer will be with us? Let's just face it, because they're really up there in age. I'm talking about our World War II veterans. Me personally, if I happen to see one, for instance, at a grocery store line, I'm definitely going to take the chance to at least give them my gratitude for their sacrifice. Let's face it, greatest generation who ever lived. A shout out to all those who have served, and can't thank you enough for the sacrifices that you have made for this wonderful country that we have. So here at CTN, we definitely want to observe and thank the veterans who are out there. We even have some members of our community. Shout out, of course, to Selma Fudd and some of our other community members who watch us on a daily basis on our 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific live show of Crypto Talk Now. So, with that said, let's get into today's coverage of Quant. And it's just that. Is Quant basically providing the necessary tools for the fourth industrial revolution? Well, what am I referring to? Well, let's get right into it. So, as you can see right here, this, of course, comes from a different source. And this source is pretty nice. I liked what they had to share. It's actually from the We Forum, and I've, of course, used them before. Maybe you're familiar with them as well. But check out what this basically is stating and how it relates to Quant. I'm not going to read everything here verbatim, but I'm going to hit the key things that I feel as though really mention what Quant is all about. So it says the possibility of billions of people connected by multiple devices with unprecedented processing power, storage capacity, and access to knowledge are unlimited. And these possibilities will be multiplied by emerging technology breakthroughs in fields such as AI, robotics, the Internet of Things. Immediately you're thinking, for instance, a lot of things that are crypto related, Web3, you name it, right? Metaverse, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, material science, energy storage, and how about this? Quantum computing. Already, artificial intelligence is all around us, from self-driving cars and drones to virtual assistants and software that translate or invest. Impressive progress has been made in AI in recent years, driven by exponential increases in computing power and by the availability of vast amounts of data. Think about that for a second. From software, also think about that, used to discover new drugs to algorithms used to predict our cultural interests, for example. Digital fabrication technologies, meanwhile, are interacting with the biological world on a daily basis. Engineers, designers, and architects are combining computational design, additive manufacturing, materials engineering, and synthetic biology to pioneer a symbiosis between microorganisms, our bodies, the products we consume, and even the buildings we inhabit. On top of that, look at this. Challenges and opportunities. Like the revolutions that preceded it, the fourth industrial revolution has the potential to raise global income levels and improve the quality of life for populations around the world. Now, before I wrap up this particular part of today's coverage, it goes on to state this key thing. To date, those who have gained the most from it have been consumers, able to afford and access the digital world. Technology has made possible new products and services that increase the efficiency and pleasure of our personal lives. Ordering a cab, booking a flight, buying a product, making a payment, listening to music, watching a film, or playing a game, any of these can now be done remotely. With that said, I'm going to get more into our coverage on how I feel that Quant basically provides, as like this gentleman is going to state here in a moment, the picks, the shovels, the mining hat, you name it, when it comes to entering or currently being in this fourth industrial revolution that we are in. We're going to take a moment to basically hear this. Of course, this is roughly about a year or so ago, maybe even longer. But my key takeaway is this. You literally see the groundwork they put out for what we're basically entering right now. Let's just take a moment to hear this. It's about 1:31, and then we'll come right back.
Again, you want to be the guy that sells the picks and shovels for this revolution. Quant is selling the picks, the shovels, the miners' hard hats, the actual minecart itself, the railways for the minecarts, like everything. Like, this is nasty. Holy crap. And so, yeah, we see also from Madrid to Lisboa in Portugal, then through all, I guess these are Madeira in Cabo Verde, is like, those are islands. And it's to be completed in 2021, so this is already live, like, if there weren't any delays. But this is badass. So, and again, the connection to Spain is not inconsequential. Alastria. So Alastria has birthed so much. Alastria, that being Spain's national blockchain infrastructure. Alastria directly inspired both LAC chain, which is Latin America chain, for public infrastructure, and also basically the European blockchain services infrastructure. And so this is a direct like fiber connection between the likes of these countries.
So powerful words spoken basically right there. Again, it's from about a year or so ago, maybe even 2 years. But, basically, you've seen what has basically happened and transpired, especially recently. Let's face it, a few months ago with what Quant has basically done with LAC chain and so on was a huge thing. I mean, everybody, of course, was talking about what's going to happen, leading up to November. Sure, we're in November right now because, the whole thing with ISO 222. But Quant, if you think about it, they already had the groundwork laid down. Even Gilbert Verdian laid down an ISO standard back in 2014. And to see what they accomplished long before, technically speaking, what was going to happen voluntarily with certain central banks and so on, for ISO 222. I guess apparently a little bit later this month, but of course the mandatory, or I should say what's going to be an actual mandate in March of 2023 is a whole other story in itself. What they accomplished with LAC chain for Latin America was huge. We of course covered that in the past. If you want to look more into that, we have some recorded videos that cover specifically just that. A little bit more in regards to today's Quant coverage. I definitely want to point this out. Shout out to Greg Lunt, who posted this, and of course, shout out to Quant Papa as usual for his great Quant coverage. How about this for one? Straight from Gilbert Verdian, Quant's secret sauce. Sometimes people ask me that. They're like, they won't necessarily say, Max, what is the secret sauce behind Quant? But they'll basically say to me, what's Quant all about? Roughly, can you give me like 1 to 2 minutes about just real quick what it is? What's the the real thing that really stands out? Well, how about this for one? Gilbert Verdian, CEO of Quant, is literally going to outline the Overledger's secret sauce for you. About 49 seconds, and then we'll kick it right back.
We've done it in a unique way, which really decouples the messaging layer from the transactional layer. And we had to put some clever things in the technology to make sure that you're writing to the right destination chain. Create something called a verification block, and it polls the destination to make sure it's being written to the right chain. And we're using something called a two-phase commit to do that. And then you've got the OK, and it writes to the right chain. And if one blockchain operates at 10 transactions and then the other one operates at 1,000 transactions, we have to wait until that's done on both blockchains. And we're respecting the rules of the bottom blockchains. So looking at the way computers work, and if you look at the hard drive and disk checksums and TCP/IP, we've taken the best of technology out there and applied it to blockchain. We've done it in a...
So, think about what he just basically said right there. The bottom line is taking the best technologies of blockchain, various blockchains, and applying it to just that, blockchain. And, it's just yet the many different reasons for why Quant is ahead of the pack by leaps and bounds, miles ahead, if you think about it. Anyway, there's the secret sauce behind it. Thank you to Greg Lunt for providing that particular coverage. On top of that, how about this? For instance, I liked seeing this, and basically, this was Gilbert Verdian replying to a particular person. And if anything, I'm gonna actually try to blow that up a little bit more for you guys, so you can see a little bit better. Let me see. Give me just a second. There we go. Gonna come out of the frame for just a moment. And it's just that, like you see right here, it says, in parallel, we've been meeting financial institutions, enterprise clients, and even governments to connect to OVN. And if you're wondering, just real quick, what OVN means, just in case you're new to all this, here's the exact definition. So it states, Open Virtual Network is OVN. It's an open source project originally launched by the Open vSwitch OVS team at Nicira, which is now part of VMware. I actually have a lot of experience in VMware, and as well as, get this, Oracle's VirtualBox, right? I did a lot of work with virtual servers many years ago. It says that is supported by engineers from various commercial, private, and public entities. A little bit back, of course, to what we were covering. I just, of course, want to give you guys that definition. It states basically that OVN is going to be a hub that connects the United States, China, Latin America, like we previously saw with LAC Chain, right? Australia, the UK, and Europe to interoperable digital assets and cross-border transactions. We've had countries approach us to use OVN to enable a data marketplace for all their citizens to interoperate and transact identity and data domestically and across the ecosystem for cross-border transactions. We've done a lot of work with the Treasury and payments and have created our multi-DLT payment channels. Think of it as multi-chain lightning networks across blockchains. So earlier you heard that particular gentleman talking about what was going on with the likes of, developing LAC chain and everything that happened, for instance, with the likes of Latin America, right, and so on. That bridge between Spain and creating that fiber network literally overseas and so on, and how that is basically built, I should say, just on that fiber, right? Well, when you hear things like this, the lightning networks across blockchains is just taking that fiber connections, if you will, and also applying the technologies that we have with the likes of Quant and other various blockchains and making it all interoperable. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It says we've even managed to bring the enormously high gas fees down and reduce them by up to 93%. Think about that in itself. When I think of enormously high gas fees, immediately I think of Ethereum and basically how the gas fees on that can be absolutely insane. Having to stay up late at night to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning because that's when it has less network congestion for I could save on my gas fees. Are you joking? How about this for size? The other night, I was going to go buy, for instance, a certain coin on my Coinbase wallet, and I had to pay for that with Ethereum. And they wanted to charge me, basically, I think it was like $28, and my balance of Ethereum was $29. So, it's ridiculous. I'm paying almost my entire balance in Ethereum gas fees. Guys, as you know, as far as I'm concerned, I understand the whole thing of Ethereum going from, proof of work, for instance, proof of stake and whatnot. But comparing the likes of Ethereum to comparing it to the likes of Quant, there's no comparison. Really isn't. This last part, for instance, streamlining payments for all blockchains. If anyone wants blockchain faster payments, they can come to Overledger Network with Quant. All right. That is actually just about it. I did notice, just for a brief moment, that I saw, for instance, Quant dropped down to about 120. I think it's gonna stay in that range unless we have like a monumental crash again. But if anything, you guys, I just want to, of course, thank you. I want to come back into the frame here in a moment. I meant to come back in earlier. And just that, I want to, of course, thank everybody for watching today's Quant coverage. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so. Hit that bell notification. I want to thank everybody who basically served and whatnot, especially today on November 11th, which is Veterans Day here in the United States. So that concludes today's Quant coverage. May you all have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next one.